Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
All of our guests today brought to you by the Bayside Oceanfront Resort. Book your island getaway today at BaysideOceanfrontResort.com or call 250-248-8333. More details on Bayside coming up in our next segment with Craig Button. Delaney's okay. Why are you looking at me like I have two heads here?
Oh, look at my screen.
Okay. Ooh. Delaney's okay Tire and Langley inbox. Funny that Ryan took a day off right after being so adamant about how no Canuck player should be taking optional skates off. Ooh. That's from Jazz in the Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox. Mm-hmm. Very that was astute. The equivalent of an optional skate yesterday. You could have. I think people would understand. You didn't come in. You didn't.
Yeah. You could have come in and you could have put together a best of show. You could have still come in, Ryan. So you get stuck in your driveway. Okay. Taylor says he's never seen snow that deep at his estate up there in the hills.
Hey, listen.
But I'm supposed to brave the elements and work?
Donnie and I didn't call Victoria to cancel the show.
Yeah.
It was you.
I wish I recorded Donnie was calling me panicking in his driveway.
No, I wasn't panicking. Stuck. Are you kidding me?
Stuck.
Donnie and I lived up north where it was minus 40.
No, you can't use that anymore.
No, it was minus 40. We walked in minus 40 weather, Ryan.
That's true. Let's find out how the weather is doing in Seattle now from KJR Sports Radio. It's Ian Furness. How are you, sir?
Man, gentlemen, I'm disappointed. 5-1 Canucks lost for like the 30th time at home this year, and I go to listen to the pod on the way home from work yesterday, and
nothing.
No, you had a repeat of the day before. What are you talking about? Come on.
Yeah, but I need to commiserate after a 5-1 loss. I mean, how many 5-1 losses can you have at home?
Apparently 5.
Okay.
in late December, it's unbelievable.
But listen, if we were doing a pool, at the start of the year, shows that would not do a show because of snow.
I know.
Canadian show would not be on the list.
Yes.
Anywhere in Canada, maybe in Victoria. I know that's kind of where your guys are based, and they're a little softer over there. But I mean, come on.
Shot at the island.
It is the island. I mean, Nanaimo would have been there, but not you guys. I mean, what the hell?
Hey, how's the weather down there, by the way? Not that
it's
far
not great. It's not great. It wasn't as bad as you guys. Now, I mean, the further north you got, Everett North was bad, and I'm more worried about Friday. They're talking about freezing rain. We're supposed to fly to Kansas City for that game, and so I'm a little concerned about that, whether or not we can get out of town and so forth. So we'll have to wait and see. Freezing rain's no fun. We can deal with snow. Freezing rain's no fun. So.
Meanwhile, hockey, Kraken. They win yesterday. They beat the St. Louis team, although Jordan Kyrou wasn't there. They beat the St. Louis team that beat the Canucks the night before 5-2. Ian, I want to focus on this, though. A recent report, I believe in Forbes, that the Seattle Kraken are one of the top revenue-generating teams in the National Hockey League. A year and a half into their existence? What are they doing right?
Well, I think they're the only winter sport, which helps. There's no NBA to compete with down here, and we have this big gap, right? You've got, college football, the NFL, and there's this gap, and then you get, the Mariners. I think that was that Elliot? I think you guys had on last week talking about that. Mm-hmm. Just the whole, who you want to see make the postseason, right? Because the salary cap needs to expand, and right now it's not going up, and Seattle's a revenue generating team. Listen, they when they went back, you go back 4 or 5 years ago when they put the tickets on sale. I remember that day in March, and they sold out their season tickets in 12 minutes, and then they had 30,000 people and a waiting list and all those things. And I think that helps. I mean, you start with basically a sold out building every night. So the revenues come in from that. Obviously, concessions aren't cheap at all, so you have those revenues. And I'm assuming they have a pretty decent deal with Root Sports for local television revenue as well. So, but what they're doing right this year is they're winning, guys. I mean, it's the bottom line. There's no secret in sports. You guys talk about it. We talk about it down here. It doesn't matter what sport. Aren't the Lions a great example of that? Put a product on the field or the ice or wherever, and if they're good, people will come. Last year it was unwatchable. I joke about the 5-1 loss for you guys. I mean, last year that was, Seattle wasn't losing maybe 5-1 all the time, but they were certainly losing something 2-1, right? Like I think we talked about that last year. They didn't score goals. They weren't exciting to watch. Their fourth line this year was their second or first line last year. The goaltending wasn't great. And so this year they flipped it around. I mean, 3 or 4 guys have made a difference on the ice. They're winning games. They're playing exciting hockey. They're scoring goals. They're not preventing them a lot of times, but they're scoring. And I think in this sport, especially with a new audience, when you can play some good offensive hockey, it's fun to watch, and they're doing well.
Yeah, I mean, last year you ripped into the Kraken.
Oh, boy, did you ever.
Yep,
so
I did.
This year, and rightfully so, as we do with the Canucks these days, but they're 10 points up on the Canucks. They're in a playoff spot right now. You touched on some of what's going right with Dave Hackstall, and what about the way they're being coached, the way they're being managed these days?
Well, offensively, there's some, they have firepower. Their defense still, leaves a little bit to be desired. But I think mostly they just haven't had great goaltending. I was asking your old friend Dave Tomlinson this yesterday. I mean, who's their number one goalie? And there is no answer, right? It's not Grubauer. It's not Martin Jones. You guys will probably see Grubauer tomorrow. Right? They're tomorrow. Yep. I would assume, which is odd because I think Jones has great numbers in Vancouver lifetime. So there's some things that don't make sense in terms of what they do with the goalies. But listen, they can score. I mean, they can get up and down the ice. And when I was critical of them last year, I think what was frustrating to me was this: new sport, new market. You needed to put something out there to kind of keep some momentum going. Now they're the building is full in terms of technically sold out every night, but you still look up there's empty seats. And so they need a playoff run to get this place really kind of to broaden out the audience, because right now it's the hockey audience, right? It's the people that grew up watching Hockey Night in Canada. Yeah, they grew up watching Hockey Night in Canada on CBC, and guys like me, or they grew up watching the T-Birds or the Tips or what have you, and so. You need to grow that audience. It's something the Sounders never have done. The Sounders never did a good job of growing outside of the soccer audience, and even the soccer audience. People that played soccer, families like ours that had daughter playing Premier Soccer. Well, we couldn't go to games; they're all sold out. You can only go to games if you had a season ticket, right? So you need to find a way to broaden that audience, and I think a playoff run would do that. But last year they didn't score. This year they do. Barakovsky. Beniers has just been sensational. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt he's the Rookie of the Year leader right now. And running away with it, he makes a huge difference. Bjorkstrand hasn't put the puck in the net, but he plays so well both ends. He has added a ton to this lineup. McCann continues to do what he did last year. Sorry, Vancouver. Jaden Schwartz has been good. He was hurt a bunch last year. I mean, last year, until he got hurt, Brendan Tanev was a second-line guy. He's a top 6 guy. Yanni Gord was a second-line center, sometimes the number 1 center. And now, he's a third and fourth line guy. So, I mean, that kind of tells you the depth of this team and where it's come from. They've got a guy in Daniel Sprong who they picked up for nothing last year, who's a fourth line player, but he's the number 1 power play unit. That kind of tells you what he does. Like he's a sniper. I mean, just absolutely, he can wire it. So, Geeky's a great penalty killer. They've just found guys' roles, and I think, it's fun to watch them develop. Again, they got some holes. Be interesting to see what they do at the trade deadline. And interesting to see what they do when Shane Wright comes back from World Juniors. But so far, they're a fun team.
Seahawks, it's amazing. Ian, 6-3 a month ago, top of the division. Now they're 7-7, not in control of their playoff destiny. 1-4 their last 5. They're getting beaten by teams under 500. Losses at home 3 in a row. What's going on there?
Well, they're soon to be 7-8. They're going to Kansas City on Saturday. So and then they'll have a chance to end up going 9-8 with a couple wins to end the season against the Jets and a depleted Rams team, and then they'll need some help along the way to get to the postseason. And it's not out of the realm of possibility they do that. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I think we talked about it last week a little bit. You can't stop the run, but then you can't run. So it's the daily double of bad for football, right? In the NFL, running the football is huge because they can't run. Their running backs, guys. If you take Geno Smith's scrambles out of the total numbers in terms of rushing yards the last 5 weeks, their running backs are averaging about 45 yards a game over the last 5 weeks on the ground. That you can't do that in the NFL. You're putting way too much on your quarterback. Now Tyler Lockett's out for at least this week.
Right.
He's been your most consistent wide receiver. The defense has some holes. as I paint this bleak picture, again, they can still get into the postseason, which would be a huge bonus for this team because they're going to have Denver's first-round pick. Remember that. Every time Denver loses, it's a good thing for Seattle because right now they're sitting at the number 3 pick in the draft for a team, and also they'll have like somewhere around 16 to 18 probably as well, their own pick. And then they'll have, the 2nd or 3rd overall pick in the second round, and then their own second-round pick. They're going to have a chance to upgrade that roster tremendously. And if they decide that Geno Smith is the quarterback and they just go heavy defense, they've got to find a center. He's the worst in the league right now. Austin Blythe has just really struggled at that position, and I think that the trickle-down effect, the guards then struggle, the rookie tackles then struggle because the guy in the middle's having issues this season. But, they can bolster that defensive line, the linebacking core, and that offensive line, snap of the fingers with some guys right off the get-go. So they're trending in the right direction. We thought they were a couple years away. They're probably just a year away.
Before I let you go, what's your problem with Jimmy Kimmel?
Oh,
I didn't see this.
So the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl on Saturday.
Fresno
State and Washington State, yeah. So he was in the booth the entire third quarter. Mm-hmm. And, like how we're on the split screen right now?
Yep.
So they had the split screen up the whole time. And Joe Tessitore, who was a play-by-play guy, I mean, it was just a complete, backside kissing of him. Oh, Jimmy, tell us something. Jimmy, say something because it will be funny. Like whatever you say is funny. Oh, fake laugh. And it was just, and I'm watching the game. Like I don't, if you want to, I can turn down the sound, but I need this. I don't want a split screen of the unfunny Jimmy Kimmel and the unfunny Joe Tessitore and Greg McElroy telling me that the quarterback for Fresno State, Jake Hayner, is a first-round draft pick, and yet he's probably projected to be an undrafted free agent. It was too much to handle for this Cougar fan. That's all. The unfunny Jimmy Kimmel. And then he was ripping the bowl game. He's like, his name's on it, and he's like, "Oh, this is a horrible game, just destroying everything about it." I'm like, "Well, why are we here? like, what are we doing?" I don't know. It was frustrating. And I guess that serves me right. Watching a WSU game without drinking it didn't bode well for me. I'm going heavy next time. I'm going heavy. I'll never make that mistake again.
How do you think we get viewers? All-time favorite late-night talk show host. All-time favorite late-night talk show host.
It's Letterman. Yeah. Not even close. It's Letterman. It's not even close. I would watch him in college, many nights in the old AJR house at Washington State University. It was, he was on a black and white TV. Ryan, TVs used to be black and white. They used to screens about yay big. And we walked in the snow for 40.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Barefoot.
Hey, listen, if I had $1 for every time my mom from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan or Nelson, BC told me that how far she had to walk in the snow, I'd be a rich man right now. That's for sure. Yeah, both Rick and I lived up north for a significant period of time. All the stories that we've been telling people the last couple, they're out the door after yesterday because we missed a day yesterday because of the snow. Never in the years of knowing you gentlemen have I been more disappointed. I don't know what to say. Hey, you know what? Your old friend Sekeres and Price made it in yesterday.
Okay, stop it.
Who?
Stop it right there.
I don't know who the hell you're talking about.
I was gonna wish you Merry Christmas. That's out the door now. I know you know who they are, Rick, because you're on with them all the time.
Yeah. So are you talking about Dumb and Dumber?
No, I think that's the morning show on the other place.
No, now you're ripping rough and rough.
No, I like those dudes. You guys all do a great job up there. You get me, honestly, I tell you this all the time, and happy holidays to you. You guys get me through many commutes home listening to you guys. I laugh all the time. Rick, you crack me up. Donnie, this just in, you are funny, unlike Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, good. All right. Ian, all the best. Best of the season to you. We enjoyed this so much. And thanks so much.
Hey, and to all your listeners, man, every week I do this. I get more followers on Twitter. You guys have the best listeners, viewers up there.
Oh, yes, we do.
I do appreciate all the support and the nice words from all the people up there. So thank you so much, and I'll talk to you guys after the new year.
All right. We appreciate your support. Ian, thanks so much. All the best.